That looks like a structure fire to me.
It sure does. It looks like a storefront, actually, Paul. We're going to move in here nice and slow. We've got a couple other helicopters with us, and we'll take a look at it. You can see that this thing is just really involved. Now, we've got units from the fire department.
To protest the Zimmerman verdict is overshadowed when a group of mostly younger people starts marching to soon runs wild in the streets of South LA. A tactical alert is in effect as officers move in, declare an unlawful assembly, and start making a round.
Let's go to some tape we shot from Air 7 HD tonight. There was a lot of activity.
In the 1960s, African Americans would go to join clubs such as the Cub Scouts of America, and they would be turned down. They couldn't get involved in organized activity that would bear them the opportunity to be raised as a proper individual. Being an African American in this society, teenagers started getting harassed by the police. People, including parents, couldn't believe that their children were being stopped for no reason. Young black men in this society have always been represented as the most threatening figures across the board. They are viewed as being people who will commit crimes. From 1950 to 1966, the Los Angeles Police Department was commanded by Chief William Parker. Chief Parker ran the police department like a military unit. So these cops were treating the young black men as if they were enemies, as if they were in warfare. It was an open secret that the LAPD would monitor and make sure that everyone was in the right neighborhood at the right time. Alameda Boulevard was known as the White Curtain. African Americans that would cross this road would be put into place. There are barriers in this society, invisible barriers, social barriers. The LAPD's job was to reinforce that barrier. These policemen would stop African American males and ask, "What are you doing? Why are you here? You're supposed to stay in your neighborhood." As an African American, you feel a sense of alienation. You're culturally disoriented. You don't have a sense of identity in terms of who you really are. In the 1960s, the idea was of only to create a segregated society, and the idea that those of darker skin were inferior, and they were to be treated as such. After a while, you would individualize this and develop a deep-seated self-hatred, because you would see yourself as having almost no value. In a free society, a black man is walking down the street, and the police have the nerve to ask him, "Where are you going? Where did you come from?" It's none of their business to ask these type of questions. They ask them, "What are you doing here?" Do they ask anyone else in the society, what are they doing here? Do they ask anyone else in the society, why do you exist? But you have the nerve to ask a black man that all day, every day. Do you know the psychological harm that does to a person? What that does to them? What message that sends to them? Every day you're feeding them a spoonful of hatred. Every day they are fed more and more hatred. The question is, when is this hatred going to erupt? And upon whom is this going to erupt? Are they going to attack themselves? Are they going to attack the person next to them? Are they going to attack their self-image? Or are they eventually going to attack the cause of their frustration? But the point is that people are harmed for something they cannot change. These people are going to erupt. They're going to get tired of the harm someday, somewhere, on somebody. But the question is, upon whom? The parents of the African Americans of the 1970s and the 1980s tell their children just to let go of the hatred. They know the brutality is wrong. and that the children are greater than the oppression by outliving it. To show that it doesn't work, that it doesn't destroy you, and in the process, the children have to deal with all the brutality. The parents are coming from places where black men are expected to step off the street and say, "Yes, sir," to a 12-year-old white boy. And black men executions are common. And from their perspective, the city is wonderful. They're aware of all the flaws, but they recognize the improvement from when they were young. Their children have a different perspective. The children feel that they should take it upon themselves and say, "You took it, I'm not." African American males feel that they are dead to society. They've been beaten down. They've been beaten down for 500 years from everyone. They've been beaten inside and outside their bodies. How else can you hurt them? You cannot threaten them. You cannot frighten them. They live in the most frightening places and under the most frightening conditions. They are immune to fear. They are immune to harm, in a sense, because of how they've been treated. In 1965, a man named Marquette Fry suffered a very brutal traffic stop. This event led the African American people to finally erupt. This event led to African American violence. African American violence is frowned upon, but whenever the country uses it, it uses it at any time it wants to, and it legitimizes violence. It is a continuous cycle where an African American is either killed or very brutally beaten by police. And African Americans feel it is necessary to take it upon themselves to use the violence back. They're tired of being treated a certain way, and they take action. I don't say it is right, but I could see where they start to feel this way. How would you feel if you felt like a nothing in this society?
I bear witness there is no God but Allah.
I believe in this society, there's not enough people comparing to the past that actually promote peace or nonviolent protest. In this generation, in this country, war is greatly celebrated and is looked to as an outlet to solve a problem. And it is us in this classroom, us in this school, us in this city, state, country, kids our age that are going to be the face of the next generation. It is us that can change the world by our tendencies. We need to promote to our children, to the rest of the world, what we've been taught here. And one person can change the world. We've learned that in here. And even now you go to the streets, and now you see police officers and they look like soldiers. They're wearing black with jack boots, with high caliber guns, and they don't walk the streets to know the community. They drive around in cruisers. They all look like they're going to the battlefield. The Greenville Police Department bought all new SWAT gear as an example. Bells, whistles, storage compartments, gun holes. The respect is lost. The officers in the street have lost it, the institution has lost it, and you're not going to be seen as nothing but the enemy, the other. The good life for me is being able to have financial stability, spiritual stability, and emotional stability. I also want peace in this world. I want my future children to be able to walk the streets with no worries of being robbed or being harassed by the police. For the good life, I don't need to be wealthy. I don't need meaningless objects to surround me to be happy. I just want to live in a world where everyone is accepted for who they are.